This is Mo Bashir for The Hook. I'm delighted to be joined by David Jones, who runs Gorilla House.
That's it.
Um, David, you specialize in sort of apparel, fight wear, in particular, the MMA scene. I wanted to, yeah, just really understand like how you got to the position you're in. What were some of the events that led up to you starting an apparel company?
Cool. Yeah. So basically, started Gorilla House start of 2024, and it originally started as just like more of a media company. So what I started doing initially was doing highlight videos for MMA fighters. There's a few guys locally to me in Bedford that I know, so I did some videos for them, posted them on Instagram in the kind of effort to try and help them get more sponsorships and stuff like that. Didn't charge them anything for it, and then more people then started asking me. So it kind of just blew up from there, um, all the way to the point where I did one for Modestas Bukauskas, who's in the UFC. Um, so I did one for him as well, and that went pretty big. And then it got to the point where I thought, right, this is getting big now. I'm building a big community. Like, how can I like monetize this? Like, how can I make it bigger than it is? And then someone said, "Oh, have you thought about designing like some rash guards?" And I said, "No, but let's give it a go." Um, I've got like a little bit of a design background anyway. Um, I've done like graphic design, websites, and logo designs and stuff like that in the past. So it kind of like evolved from there. Um, Posted some on Instagram, and some of the guys that I'd already done highlight videos for said, "Yep, cool, I'll do that." So from I think I sold my first rash guard on the 1st of January 2025, and it just kind of grew from there. Someone said, "Oh, can you do a custom one? Can you add my name to the back? Can you put the club logos on there? Things like that." So the first few ones we did were quite basic. I had like a template design that I did, and then over time it just got a bit more wild, and people were kind of like, if anyone knows my brand, they would have seen all the crazy designs that I've done. And from sort of January 2025 up until now, what we like March 26, so like a year and a couple of months, I've gone from selling a couple of rash guards to some amateur guys up in Yorkshire to now having people fight for world title fights on Cage Warriors. So the brand is blowing up massive. And now we're getting opportunities to work with like mental health charities and stuff, trying to do loads of stuff on men's mental health charities. There was a kid that we did a giveaway for week before, a young guy called Lucas Sims, who's based up near Leeds. He goes to AVT up in Leeds. And he's done so much for like men's mental health charities as well. So we're starting to work with one called the Mental Shift, and there was another one called Mint. It's like men in need together. So it's kind of like it's a massive thing at the moment, is it? Like men's mental health, like a lot of men don't talk about things, but it's becoming less taboo. So I'm hoping that we can then shine a light on that as well, to make it so men feel they can talk about things a bit more. And all the sales from Lucas's kit, I'm taking no profit whatsoever on that. Any tops that he sells to any sort of friends and family and gym mates, things like that, all the profits are going to those charities.
Oh, that's awesome. Just we'll touch upon that as we go on, but I want to take it back because it's quite interesting, like talking to people who like they just start out by posting online. I guess is that do you think that was a catalyst to you get into the position that you're in now, like just posting and getting yourself out there?
I think so, because you always see things, don't you? Like these influencer type people. Because one guy that I always reference is Gary Vaynerchuk, because he always bangs on about, no, you've just got to do it. There's no, if the more you sit around and wait and think, oh, you got to plan. It doesn't matter what the quality of your content is, as long as you're putting it out there. And I think that kind of worked well for me as well, because I'm putting these videos out, and obviously every video I did, my quality improved because I learned more things, and I became an absolute killer on CapCut and just doing
Yeah.
just like honestly just like laying there in bed or on the sofa or whatever, like in
Yeah.
the evening, just editing videos for people and just posting them up. And I think because I used that to build a community, that was like my original base, and I built so many connections with different gyms and different fighters, um, that it kind of went from there. the end of 2025 is where it kind of then evolved, because that's when I got into sponsoring events as well.
Mm-hmm.
So then in 2025, I'd actually sponsored 4 MMA promotions. So like my logos and the cage and things like that. This year I've kind of scaled that back a little bit because I'm putting more money into sponsoring professional fighters, because I see there's a good return on that, because you're on a big stage, you're on something like Cage Warriors where it's on UFC Fight Pass. Lots of eyes on the brand. So yeah.
And then when you were doing the social media stuff, like you said you already had a background in design. Like were you just using? Did you start out with did you have all the gear? Did you iterate as you went along? How did you
I just kind of
improve?
yeah, most of the stuff that I do, all of those videos I did, it was all based on my iPhone and my iPad. That's literally, you can start as simple as that. You don't need anything fancy. So even like most of the designs that I do now, I use my iPad. There's an app called Procreate. It's like a drawing app, and I've got like my Apple Pencil, and I just doodle away. Finishing touches, I'll use things like Photoshop and Adobe Illustrator as well, because you have to make it sharp like a vector so it'll actually print well, otherwise they're all pixelated. I get a lot of people sending me ChatGPT created images and they want them printed, and you just can't do it, they're just rubbish. So there's a lot of times where I've had to then redraw them and things like that. So yeah, I think with any of this sort of thing, you have to have like a base knowledge. You can't, anyone could technically do it, but because you see probably every day social media, you'll see like a new clothing brand coming out and it's all the same sort of thing. But I think I always say like Gorilla House isn't just a clothing brand, it is a community. It is we're on a bit of a mission to try to make it more than just clothing. And I think people are really buying into it because they see how much we're helping people. This Gorilla House is just me. I'm just a one-man band doing all of it. It'll probably grow to a point where I need more people helping, but I think at the moment, I'm doing this full time, so I do have time in the day that I can do designs and stuff like that. So, I think I kind of went off on a bit of a tangent there, but
That's all right.
it's like when you do these chats,
Yeah.
you just waffle one.
Yeah. So that it's quite interesting. You said now you do it full time. Because there's a lot of people that balance like working. I know I work part time, but there's a lot of people that balance working part time and doing their thing on the side. What was the turning point for you where you were able to do it full time?
So I've always worked in the corporate world, right? So I've had quite high end like managerial roles. So I had to get to a point where I was struggling to do Gorilla House, but financially, Gorilla House was paying me enough to cover all the bills, so all of my outgoings. So that's the point I got to. I kind of thought, my missus said to me, she goes, I think you should just go all in. She can see how big it's getting and how much it's growing. And great, she's been very supportive as well. And I was trying to run a business whilst working a full-time job. I've got 2 kids as well, so it's really hard to juggle everything. And I think if I didn't go all in, I would really struggle to grow it anymore, because I'm then limiting the amount of time that I'm putting into it. And if you're working full time, you got 8 hours a day that you're doing that. Whereas now, for example, today you've messaged me and I've gone, right, let's just jump on and do it. It's no time like the present. So I'm hoping as time goes on for the rest of this year, it will just keep growing and growing, and just grow into a bigger beast, basically.
Do you think it was an easy decision in the end, or because I'm always I don't know, I'm quite interested in people I don't know, there's a lot of risk that people could take but choose not to because they care about what other people think. So I'm always interested in sort of was it an easy decision in the end?
It was scary, but I think the way I look at it is, if it doesn't work, I can just get a day job. As simple as that. It's I know the job market out there at the moment is a bit crazy.
Yeah.
I do have skills and stuff, and I have no ego about me. I would go and work in Tesco if I had to. I don't care. I would literally do anything. I've got a family to support and things like that. So I have so much faith in the brand that, you know, it has grown. And even like today, I posted up that, you know, we'd tipped the 1 million views in the last 30 days mark, and that's been growing. And I know like some people look at that and go, oh, that's nothing, you know, because if you're posting videos yourself, you're some kind of influencer, you might be hitting the 10, 20 million mark. But a lot of that is usually based around the fact that they've had a viral moment. Like one of their reels has gone and it's done 10 million views, for example. And, you know, perfect, great for them. You know, that will increase their following and stuff like that. But all of mine has been slow and steady. I've never paid for advertising. I've never thrown freebies at people just on the hope that I'll get loads of views and people will start messaging me and tagging me and whatever. The brand has grown because people want to be a part of the brand. So like really building that community feel, and it is genuine as well. Like I go to all of these MMA events. I won't just sit there cage side away from everyone else. I'll jump in the crowd with people, and I'll really cheer on the people wearing my brand because I fully back them. The hardest point is when I've got two people wearing Gorilla House fighting each other. So that's the bit I really struggle with, because like most of the time I'm the biggest cheerleader for these guys. I'll scream, I'll shout from the crowd. Like when I went to Cage Warriors on Friday, I stood next to people who were there supporting Wesley Meyer, and I'm there shouting for Oli Sawa, who obviously was wearing my brand, and I didn't care, you know. Just like I'm the biggest cheerleader in the world. But if I had two people fighting each other, I'm just like, oh man, like I have to be like, let the best man win sort of thing. Because on Raged UK last weekend, I had two female fighters fighting each other, and again, we're doing so much for female fighters as well, trying to support them, because it's like fight sports are male dominated, but there are so many female fighters out there that are absolute killers. So we're trying to support them as much as we can as well.
Awesome. And then when you were starting out, like what was the brand ethos at the time? So you know, someone came up to you and said you should start making rash guards. Like, was it quality? Is it brand? Like what did you want to achieve when you started out?
Always quality over quantity. So I partnered up with, so my inbox every single day, I'm absolutely bombarded with these manufacturers every single day. Everyone basically, I know they send these to every single brand and fighter in the world, but I partnered up with Pressure Performance, who are based out in Northampton, so it's not a million miles away from me. Already an established brand in the market, so I have them make all my kits. It might cost me a bit more than me going direct to these suppliers, but I know the quality is top notch, and I've got no plans of moving away from them at all. Like they treat me really well, and like so the branding, my branding's all over it, but I want to have, say, each fighter to have their own identity stamp on there, because my whole thing is helping fighters build a brand. Because for example, like if you're just going into the cage in like a generic training kit, for example, you don't really have your identity there. Like some people like to have their country's flag or like an identity, for example, on their kit. Like I've done all sorts for everyone. I did like a Palestinian theme one for a chap recently. I've done Welsh ones, I've done English ones, I've done stuff for American people. Like I will literally do anything, and if it helps that person feel like their identity, like they can wear it. Because if you, like I said at the start, if you're just wearing a generic off the shelf kit, that's not your identity. You're just promoting another brand. I've done kits for people where my logo is just tucked on the sleeve, for example, whereas some will have it like, I know my hoodie today is like big like this, but some brands will make sure their logo is big and bold on the top. But I'm just like, no, this is about the fighter. I want them to have their identity on their kit because they feel pride in wearing it. They'll promote it, and then that could potentially help them get more sponsors as well if they've got their own custom unique kit.
Oh, you mentioned you work with the fighters as well, and like helping them grow their, I guess, their own personal brand. How important do you think that is, firstly, and what do you think younger fighters can do to sort of elevate themselves going forward?
So I think it's massively important, like helping them build a brand, because you see things in like UFC, for example, the top guys don't always necessarily get the title shots. If you've built your brand, say someone like Conor McGregor, for example, as a prime example, he built himself as a brand, and that kind of elevated him to the top. Obviously, as a top tier fighter. but still, like you could have had someone who was as equally good at fighting, but they might have been a bit more quiet. So with some of these youngsters coming through now, if they really want to build their brand, I know sometimes they might have pushy parents who might like push them a little bit harder, but if they're wanting to build their brand and get their name out there more, I think it's really important to have like your own custom fight kit, because you've got your name on it, you can have your Instagram tags, you can have all your sponsor logos on the front. And like I say, I share all the content on my page. Some other brands that I've seen, I won't name any, but they will post things, say, tag us for the chance or the opportunity to be shared on our page. And I don't think it should be like that. I think it literally should just be, you're wearing Gorilla House, I'm going to promote you. And I'll do everything in my power to promote you. I've even had ones where I've seen promotions that I'm a sponsor of that are asking for, we need a fighter who could fight for a title or whatever of this age, this weight class. And I've recommended people that wear my brand. So there was one chap actually who I got a title fight and he won the title. So it's just little opportunities like that where I can give people a little push. All the junior fighters, I speak to all their parents pretty much every day. They're always in my inbox throwing new ideas, different kits at me and stuff like that. So, and it's good because when I went to Cage Warriors on Friday, I was walking around the corner and I saw one of the dads of one of the kids that I did a kit for, and he was literally like this. He was like, hey, like that. And from a distance, I was like, I wear glasses, my eyesight's terrible from a distance. I was like, who's that guy? Is he doing it to me? But yeah, I went over, had a little chat with them. They were down for the UFC basically on the Saturday. But yeah, a nice little chat with them as well. So it's good to connect, and I'm trying to put myself out there more so people like recognize me as like the brand, but I'm trying to not make it about me in the same time. As that sort of fine balance. I don't want to be. I know it's all about the fighters. I know this brand would be nothing without the fighters. So yeah, it's a fine balance, really. Don't want to spam people with my face constantly, but it's good to put myself out there more.
Do you still do the social media as well for like the fighters? You still go to the gyms and do that alongside Gorilla House?
Yeah, so I have more plans because now I've got more people in, say, up in Birmingham, for example, combat. There's quite a lot of guys that wear my brand there. So I think I'm going to go up there and do that, do like a media day with them. That will help them get more social media stuff. It'll help my brand get more social media stuff as well. We've also got plans in the summer to do like a big meetup as well. So like invite all the fighters from across the country to one place and do like a seminar day or something like that. Try and tie it in with like a new product launch as well, so we can get everyone wearing, say, like a new training kit, for example, get some new gloves. Try and tie it all together like that. Really, try and just increase that sort of community feel about it.
And then, like you mentioned, going into the like sponsoring events. How does that opportunity come about?
So the first one that I sponsored was Battle Arena. I've been going to Battle Arena for years because of people that I know that used to fight in the event. Massive promotion. They've been around for years. And I saw it was the end of 2024, and they were like putting a post out on their social media saying, we're looking for sponsors for next year. So I just messaged them off the off chance, and I was like, how much? I was just how much for a place on the mat sort of things. Obviously, I had I wanted to grow the brand and stuff like that. So we had a chat. We agreed on an amount. I can't say how much it is, but quite a few quid. Let's put it that way. So my logo for last year, it was probably about 10 foot by probably about 4 foot. It was massive. And I run a competition. If you could finish your opponent on my logo, you'd win a t-shirt or win a hoodie, for example. It kind of varied by event. And one event, everyone was aiming for my logo. And then from there was a few others that contact me. I get events contact me all the time. And I think because I've scaled it back this year, I can't always justify, because it's a lot of money to sponsor these events. I'd love to be more like present on these events and these cage mats and stuff, but I've got to be realistic about the sort of money side of things and the return on the investment. Obviously, it's great because I get like cage side tickets and stuff like that. I just go and stand like with Battle Arena. I'll go and stand with James, who's the owner, promoter, and all that. We like talk about things, but like this year I've renewed with them as well. So my logo is going to be the massive center logo in the middle of their cage. So that's going to be even bigger for the brand. And yeah, the next event is April the 4th. So under 2 weeks time, actually. So I'm buzzing for that.
Nice. Because a lot of people see logos on fight shorts, they see logos on like on the floor of the cage. Like what goes into what some of the factors from a brand's perspective goes into like putting their logo on the canvas? Like why would someone do that? I guess the obvious one is to gain sort of publicity, but are there any other reasons why a brand would want to do that?
I think so. If you're in the same space like I am, so in the sort of fight game, it makes sense for me as a brand to sponsor one of those events because it drives a bit of intrigue, doesn't it? So people go, "Oh, what's that? I've not seen that before." Or now I'm more present and I've got probably about 300 custom kits out there in the moment. They'll see that gorilla head and they'll go, "Oh, I know that." Or that must be like big, they must be growing. I've got this. But some other companies, say if you're a security firm or a gambling company, for example, you sponsor one of these events, it might just be to have a tax write-off at the end of the year, because you can do sponsorships. Yeah. But it all depends on, I suppose, the company really, what their sort of goals are. But my whole thing was really to increase the brand identity in the market.
And is there a do you see a healthy return? Obviously, we don't have to talk numbers, but is there a healthy return in advertising compared to revenue brought in?
I think I probably get more of a return from professional fighters and providing them with custom kits than I do the events. So for me, don't get me wrong, I do see a return, but the money that I put into the events, I probably don't see that much back.
Okay.
So for me, it's more like a passion project than anything else. Look, I'd love to have my own fight show one day. That's probably like a big goal. Maybe think about that for next year. This year, I'm just don't want to run before I can walk, sort of thing. But it's definitely something that's doable.
Awesome. And then in terms of like the rush guard themselves, what makes a good rush guard, and how do your guys' rush guard differ from perhaps others on the market?
To be fair, I think a lot of them, like material wise, are very similar. But I'll actually show you one second. There you go. Let's go live. So these are some champion tops that I made for Battle Arena. So this is for if you win a world champion title, you can get one of these tops. So I worked with, and on the back, done like a version of that, so it's blurred out, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a champion. Yeah.
Yeah, and one thing that sets us apart as well is it's full sublimation, so there's no stuck on labels. So like some brands out there, they'll have like a pattern fabric made like this, but then they'll use like a heat pressed logo on, and obviously heat pressed stuff can peel off, especially if you're doing a lot of high friction stuff where you're grappling and wrestling and stuff like that. So whereas like if we heat press that on like a vinyl, it would just peel off. Whereas that's like full sublimation. So that is like just printed into the fabric basically. So I've got this blurred background, and then you've got world champion on the sleeve there. So we've done 4 variations of this top. So because Battle Arena, they have British, European, and world champion, and then they have the professional ones as well. So we went for a gold, silver, bronze for the amateurs, and then a red and black for the pros.
Awesome.
So looking forward to giving loads of those out in under 2 weeks.
Nice. And like from when you started, when did you start Gorilla House, like the apparel brand?
January 25.
25. Okay. And
literally started last year.
Okay, so a similar time to us starting the Hook. Like, was that what were your ambitions then, and do you think you fulfilled what you set out to achieve?
I've far exceeded what I thought was going to happen.
Okay.
I genuinely thought, oh cool, I'll make a few rash guards, a few training tops, whatever. No one's going to buy them. I thought maybe I might sell a handful, won't. But then it just went crazy. I think because I do the custom stuff and it's fully custom. Like I say, anyone watching this can have a little scroll through my page and they can see all the different.
Yeah, we'll make sure we link it in the description.
Yeah. And then I try and post every time I get a delivery, and I'll take photos of all the kits laid flat and and I encourage all the guys to take photos of their them in their kits as well. But yeah, it's just the fully custom stuff that I do, because there's not many brands. There's a few out there, don't get me wrong, and there's a few that are probably technically bigger than my brand because they've been around for like 5-6 years. But I think I'm getting to a point now where I'm like, it's growing more than I could ever imagine. Basically,
Mm-hmm.
the streetwear side of things as well. So like hoodies like this. I also do like custom hoodies for fighters as well, so they can have all their sponsors and stuff like that on it. Whereas a lot of brands don't do that. Getting into like the gear market as well, so like MMA gloves and stuff like that as well. So I've got some MMA gloves on the way, so I'm hoping I can get those out and advertise in the next couple of months.
Awesome. And like, you know, was there a point from January 2025 to now where you were like, oh, like this is like, you know, I don't have to worry about going back to another job? Like, was there a specific
Yeah,
moment that comes to mind?
I think it got to a point where I went on a holiday to Turkey last August, and we went away for 2 weeks. And we'd got the kids off to bed, my missus was asleep, and I was just up on my iPad designing flight kits. So I was there literally like till like probably like 2 o'clock in the morning, like doing these kits, because I knew I couldn't not do it while I was there. But obviously, like during the day, we had our family time and everything. Once we were all settled and everyone was asleep, I was just sat there doodling on my iPad and getting all these orders processed and everything like that. I think that was kind of like a point where I saw like, this is actually quite big, and you know there's still a big demand, and it's still growing. And even like towards the end of the year, it was going a bit nuts. And yeah, sort of start of the year, was kind of thought, you know what, I could probably go full time with this, and that's when we did.
Nice. And we'll wrap it up with a couple last questions. But what does a successful 2026 look like now that you've exceeded your expectations?
Oh god, I think just continuous growth. I think like for me, it'd be great to do more, like I said earlier, with the mental health charities and stuff like that. Obviously, I'm running a business. My bottom line is obviously quite important, but I think for me, continuing to build the community and get it bigger. I don't have any aspirations to be the next whatever brand. I think for me, it's like, this is Gorilla House. This is what I want to build. This is what I want to do. Because I think if you start trying to copy other brands, it's a bit bit of a simp move, isn't it? Like just trying to be like, you want to be like the next Gymshark, for example. Like you'll never get anywhere, because all you're going to be doing is imitating. I think if you can just be authentically yourself, and I think that's what a successful year for me will be like. If I can continue to grow the brand like full time as I am, I think that'll be a success for me. Just to continue to help more people, basically.
And I think maybe like if you got a couple other people, I think, because obviously it's amazing what you've done by yourself, but I mean, if you have someone
Yeah,
else to maybe take care of logistics or stuff like that.
yeah. So there's loads of bits that I want to do. I think as well, it's like if I got more, a few more pro fighters on as well to kind of help
Mm.
promote the brand. In my inbox, it's usually after a Cage Warriors event. I get fighters from who are signed to other brands messaging me saying, "I absolutely love your brand. I would love to get on board with you, but I'm under contract with other brand." So I'm just like, obviously, I'd love to be able to poach these guys, but you know, I've got to respect these other guys in the market, haven't I? If they've got contracts and stuff like that, I can't be oh, maybe my morals are too high. Maybe I should just try and poach these guys. But you know, it's like I don't want to upset their relationship with their current provider. So,
What's your dream collaboration? If obviously contracts weren't a thing.
you know what? Like, I think at the moment I've got some really good fighters on the brand already. So I think like some of the biggest names I've got, like Ollie Sawa, who had a championship fight last week in Cage Warriors. Got Jack Humphreys is on the brand as well. Like both of those guys, I predict would be in the UFC at some point. I think they are top tier fighters. They're still young as well, and they are. I think Jack's undefeated. I think, and then Ollie Sawa was undefeated until he lost on a very very close points decision last week. But I think for me, it's like I have a lot of the next generation guys coming through. So there's a lot of guys that I've had from amateur. It's crazy because I've only been doing this for like 14 months, 30 months, whatever it's been. But I've had guys that have gone from amateur, had their pro debut, and then they've gone to like shows like Cage Warriors, for example. So I think if as long as I can keep supporting these guys, that makes me happy. Like I really wish like the UFC still allowed fighters to wear their own brand stuff, and they didn't force them to wear like the Venom stuff or whatever, because that would be brilliant. Because then the people that I've got that then get pushed up to the UFC, I'd be absolutely laughing. But yeah, I think just be able to support more people and just have more people on the brand. And for me, it's not like just having any old people; it's having the people that want to be on the brand. You know, that's the key differentiator for me, because I have people messaging me every single day, like brand, like influencer type people going, "Oh, I love your brand. Like, I'd love to blah blah blah." And I look at them; they're not even following me, so it's just people out for a freebie. But I just want people to want to be a part of it.
Yeah,
Basically.
perfect. And I think you'll excel. It seems like you're building something great.
Yeah.
Mate, David, thank you so much for your time.